recording audio with external microphone.
Hooray!
He gave us a little message and
That's all
everything.
working.
Yeah,
Wow.
so we don't have to panic anymore like middle-aged men with technology.
Well, I would still have a listen back.
You'd still have a listen back.
Just because.
What you mean?
This
Keep this pointless bit of videotape and edit it into the main thing later on
listen back
to make
it
us look
now.
even
Do it
more
now.
stupid.
To make sure the microphone's actually working. As soon as I've had to reassemble it.
Oh yeah, okay. So,
we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe.
here we go. We're walking past Cloughton Dyke, which is over there, and I'm sure we'll be able to capture some better footage of that than me just holding a stick in the air and pretending that passes for virtual tourism. Anyway, you catch us on our Three Shall Overcome walk, and we were discussing it being 2023. The rise in trade unionism and activity among trade unions, in particular strikes, since June, I think it was, of 2022 when the RMT went out. And it's been quite interesting, hasn't it, chaps?
It's been quite exciting for a while, yes. It felt like there was some kind of momentum, some kind of movement building. Slowly being chipped away now.
Yep.
But for a while, yes. It
Yeah.
felt like something was happening.
It did. I think they're sort of dividing and ruling at the moment, aren't they? Splitting us apart. We'll have to try and get us all into camera here. Sorry, guys. I think that's probably the best way. I don't like taking stage centre, but if I do, nobody can see Kev or you or me. Right, which kind of like.
We should probably do it that way then.
Yeah, I reckon so. It kind of belies the whole point of it, doesn't it? But yeah. So for me, when the RMT first went out, and you had that first day of, I'm late for my appointment, I've missed a job interview, I've missed an hospital visit, stuff that you were getting on the BBC to try and discredit the union, and people started talking to Mick Lynch. 2 days later, they couldn't find anybody who wasn't on the side of the RMT, because the messaging that Mick was putting out was resonating right across the working class of this country, that everybody deserved a pay rise, that it wasn't fair for workers to keep falling behind inflation by such huge numbers year on year on year. And I think there was a massive shift in consciousness at that point. Do you agree?
I do, yeah.
Definitely.
And I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head, where everybody was suffering and everybody was tired of the "we just need to tighten your belts" argument. At the same time, seeing very rich people doing very well, thank you very much, investing their money in assets and just making sure they were safe from any kind of economic anxiety. Not being able to find a vox pop that said, how dare they not run my train, but loads of people saying, yeah, I've been inconvenienced by this, but I get why they're doing it, and I'm with them. Yeah. There was a real shift, I thought.
And what they've tried to successfully do about the trains is blame rail operators systematically cancelling any train that they don't want to run on strikes. But whereas thousands and thousands and thousands of trains are cancelled by trains operators because they won't invest in rolling stock and they haven't got enough drivers and staff to run the trains. And which is all factoring into what the union is saying about staffing levels, safety levels, and the quality of the service. And so, but to me, they've tried their best to discredit the RMT and failed miserably.
Yes.
And I think off the back of that, when that shift in consciousness came, it not only affected society, but it affected trade union members' willingness to strike themselves, or to put, and trade union organisers' willingness to push for strike ballots themselves. And I don't think without that RMT strike and without mixed messaging, the rest of the unions would have been as bold as they have been. Okay, so you could argue some of them have settled way less than they should have done. But it's been good to see the power of the organised working class for the first time in a generation, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, it is a string of separate disputes.
Yes.
Around pay and working conditions. So ultimately, it's going to peter out as individual disputes get settled. I think that's looking at it now. That's inevitable.
Oh, absolutely inevitable. I think we should try and take in some of that view because it is beautiful.
Did you go down there last year?
No, we didn't go down there last year, Kev. Not this one, no. You can sort of get to the edge, but it gets a little bit tasty from there. But yeah, you're quite right. It wasn't a coordinated movement, but then some of the blame for it not being a coordinated movement has to fall at the feet of the TUC, I think, because they could have been brave and bold, and we could have had the organisation of trade unions to strike on the same day and create a de facto general strike, and the call for that was been fallen on deaf ears with the establishment bodies. And I think the Labour Party's criticism of striking workers and refusal to back striking workers, coupled with the TUC being basically absent without leave, has meant it's inevitable perhaps that the strikes will be settled as individual disputes and the whole thing will fizzle out.
Some of that's about playing by the rules though, isn't it?
It is, but sometimes playing by the rules, when inflation's 11% and your pay rise is 2%, and your energy bills are 500 quid a month, if ever there was a time to break the rules, it's perhaps now, Steve.
Well, I think that's my point. Coordinated strike action by a bunch of trade unions who have all got individual disputes with individual employers is never going to be a general strike.
No.
The law doesn't allow for a general strike.
No, it doesn't.
That's why we fall back
that's
on
why
the
it's very
basic
careful to
principles.
use the Latin word de facto. Is that Latin?
I don't know. I'm not the intellectual in this
No,
organisation.
it sounds French, doesn't it? Now I've thought about it.
No, I'm pretty sure it is Latin. but I think the point is, if I break the rules, I'll get the sack.
Yeah.
If we all break the rules, they can't sack all of us.
Yeah, but if you're a boss and you break the rules, you get to voluntarily leave your post.
Yeah.
But I think the point about organising a general strike is you don't do it within the confines of the Trade Union Act. You don't do it by playing by the rules. You don't necessarily do it by waiting for Congress to say, should we debate it? You're just going to have to do it.
Yeah. I think
Having stood on Royal Mail picket lines this year, I'm just really pleased at the public response anyway.
Yeah.
Because we weren't the first to strike, so it could be that they got a bit sick of it. They might support nurses, because nurses are nurses, and they might support individual strikes, but eventually when everyone stopped, there's been that many disputes, aren't there? You can understand the public, or you could imagine the public saying, oh, not another one, but we were bowled over.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying this, it's not just being twee. The number of people that came and showed support, or pastors and shouted support, or whatever it is, it would beyond what anyone expected. And I think it's because people can see that what they're going to lose, such as with Royal Mail, they're going to lose a public service, like with trains.
Yeah.
They're now getting the proper information to them, that it isn't about train drivers on 50, 70 odd grand a year, whatever they're accused of. It's about having unmanned stations, it's about not having guards on the train. It's about your daughter being on the train station late at night with nobody about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
So,
about
well,
someone disabled not being able to get assistance.
You get that whole message that bad services make more money for the owners of the services than good services do.
Yeah. Brilliant. It's really good, and I was just, when I went up picking, I was just pleased that the public were picking up on all them things.
Yeah.
They were getting it, because everything's against you when you go on strike, and you're trying to get your message across. The media's owned by the people, the establishment, aren't they? Everything's sort of against you. You've got your people on everything from breakfast TV to, you get all them kind of people on there, they've all got the view, and you don't get the other side of it really. It's just about money. It's all they ever talk about with strike disputes is money. Well, what do these train drivers want? What do these firemen want? All this stuff. You know what I mean? It were great that people, the public, understand now that firemen do not want to see fire stations shutting and tenders going, and you know, and train people, employees don't want to see the service to the public being reduced.
Yeah, well, that's been at the heart of the NHS stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's been about the state of the NHS. It's been about paramedics striking because there aren't enough paramedics.
Yeah.
That thing that Sharon Graham said, I can't remember where it was precisely, but she said, we operate at a minimum service level on a strike day and had more ambulances available than any other day that week.
Yeah, and I was actually on the RCN picket on yesterday morning, and it's still a fabulous public response to it. Still a honking of horns and the cheers out of car windows. Still massive all these months in, and they're really learning to counter some of those arguments. So you had the press always go in with the, aren't you concerned about the service you're destroying and the patients you're putting at risk? And they've learned to think on their feet and returning it with the old, well, yeah, we're striking so that there's adequate staffing and patient safety on the other 364 days of the year, you know, and it's really good to see that kind of understanding, that kind of consciousness of what the strike is actually about at its heart.
That's it. Well, in previous strikes, the narrative has sometimes been, you know, the media and that saying to people, look at what they're striking for, and that you're not on anything like that.
Yeah.
We genuinely have people coming up to give us support on picket line, and we're on far worse terms and conditions and money than what I am. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were still supporting you.
Yeah.
Because they can see that what affects you will affect them.
Yeah, and people have been on the receiving end of the rundown of the NHS, of the rundown of the education system, of what Royal Mail has done, and they're seeing it for themselves. Everybody knows somebody who has waited hours for an ambulance.
Yeah.
You know, it's real.
Plus, there is still very much a huge consciousness about the sacrifice that NHS staff made during COVID. You know, and I know that it's starting to be a cliche. You know, we don't get paid in applause, but I think people do recognise it want enough to bang a pan on a doorstep. Hey, that's interesting. Banging of pans.
Yeah.
Did you know they've made that illegal in France?
No.
Right. At the moment, wherever Macron went, they've been trying to disturb the TV pictures and everything by making, you know, because of the pension age rising in France.
Yeah.
He basically changed the law so he could force the change through. And everywhere he goes, the French have made as much of a noise as they can in protest. And the banging of pans was the loudest thing you could do, right?
Yeah.
So they've made the possession of pan in public illegal. As if that don't play into the very hands of people who are saying the rights are being eroded. Yeah, if you've got a pan in France, lad, be careful.
Meanwhile, back in the UK, all we've got is Steve throwing a megaphone.
So right, I think, unless anybody else has got anything to say on the subject, that might be a good point to save some battery.
Well, just really,
Go, Steve.
a nod to the teachers now.
Yeah.
Because if the RMT were the vanguard of the strikes a year ago, now it's the teachers, the NEU at the forefront of that.
Okay.
All the other teaching unions now balloting, all looking at coming on board. Absolutely no ground given by the government. Join the picket line outside your local school. That's the next battleground.
Fine words. Cheers, Steve. Right, we'll see you later.
Deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
I've been looking forward to this for weeks and weeks and weeks. It was so much fun last year. Completely knackering, but really good fun. And it's just kind of nice to be, I don't know, it's the 21st century plans for this. It's a safe space, isn't it? It's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
So we can talk we can shoot the breeze about the state of the nation and just have a friendly discussion about the ins and outs of it. Compare notes. You know, learn something from each other's experience. And I find it, although it's really hard on the legs, I really do find it therapeutic. It's the mental health aspect of this is amazing. I think you'd said that in the wake of last year, didn't you, Kev? That it really did your power a good.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, you can elaborate from there if you want, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, I'd run out of things to say at that point.
It is. It's not just two middle-aged and one old git whinging left wing stuff. It is about feeling good, and I mean the geography of this part of the country is amazing.
That's
anyway.
beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
And the weather's all right today, but it's and it's good to be with comrades and walking and talking. But it's just about the exercise of it, the endorphins and all that sort of stuff. But it is really, really good for your mental health, because it don't matter what. We don't sort of come here and then talk all this stuff and then depress ourselves even more or get more downhearted. It's quite the opposite. You know what I mean? You're out here and you can talk about these. You can even face them a bit better. So if you've got a question, if you've got something that's bothering you and you discuss it with your colleagues, comrades, and you're out in this kind of environment, I don't know, you can analyse it better. You can come to a conclusion better. It's just brilliant for your mental health.
It is, and I think I know we touched on a bit of this last year, but I've 20 odd years I've lived in Scarborough, and it was only lockdown where there was nowhere else to go that I climbed to the top of the cliffs and thought I wonder where this path goes, and got a bit of air in my lungs, and really understood just how incredible this coastline is, and the mental health benefits of getting out there and getting your blood flowing and your heart beating. It can't be understated, I don't think. There's a reason why people get addicted to exercise, I think, isn't there?
Yeah. It's not quite as much fun on your own though, is it?
Oh God, no. I have do you know, I know people say with the running thing, and I know people say, oh, you get in the zone, and you know, the people can put the music collection on shuffle and run with the headphones in and that. And I say, oh, before you know it, 26 miles are gone, and it's incredible feeling and all that. But I don't know about anybody else here, but as soon as I start running, my principal thought is, when can I stop doing this? I absolutely hate it. I do it, and I'll be doing it before the Lithium Joe gigs at the end of the year, just to get my stage stamina up. But I hate it. I absolutely hate running. My body's going, what are you doing this to me for?
I used
My
to
knees
quite
are
like
screaming.
running, I did used to run, and I used to like it, but I think, and it's not just because I'm getting older, but walking is better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you say, when you're running, you could run this path and you'd miss half of what there is really great to see. Well, it'd be difficult to run it, wouldn't it? But you could try and run it, but you'd miss so much by running, you know.
Oh, in middle-aged terms, Kev, walking through P-Zone Park this morning to come and meet you two, I saw a yellow wagtail in the ditch. I wouldn't have seen that if I was running.
Now, you were running with your
If I was running with Orbital or something like that on my headphones, sort of running willfully trying to do big box, little box as I was coming along, right? I would have missed the yellow wagtail. Now, some people would say, what the fuck's a yellow rat? But it's not a common bird.
No.
It's a different sort of contemplation when you walk.
Yeah.
Thanks for rescuing me from that one, Steve.
When you're running, you're communing with your body a bit more, because you are thinking about your aches and pains, you're thinking about regulating your breathing, you're thinking about your cadence. You're not really relaxing and taking in everything around you. And some of it's going by just that little bit too quickly. Whereas, you know, walking's a bit more of a natural state of being for human beings.
Yep.
So you're not thinking about the length of your stride or your breathing rate. You're just walking, which means you can think about other things.
This is very good. I wrote loads of songs on cliff tops walking. I should have been like admiring the view and all that, and in the end I was just trying to make socialism rhyme. Because your brain's immediately goes to its default position of wanting to write. And I absolutely love it, and I think we see if we can catch a bit of Robin Hood's Bay, because we can see our destination. I think in the background there, we've come this far. That's all right, isn't it? And we're still a few miles away, but it's nice to have got this far. We're not far off, about 18 miles in. We're still standing. I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
And although I'm probably communicating in words and fewer syllables than I was 10, 15 miles ago, we're still coherent, I think.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful day.
It has been a good day, yeah.
A little bit overcast, but I tell you what, you can say what you like about the BBC, they tell the truth, don't they? I had the weather forecast on this morning. It said cloudy in the morning, sunny with a bit of cloud in the afternoon, and it was true. And I'll congratulate them, because very little else that I've read on the BBC website has been true over the last 40, 45 years.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.